Welcome back and good morning, dear viewers. The Africa Mindset Reset Forum in Kigali, under the theme From Pan-Africanism to Meta-Africanism, presents a timely debate about the kind of leadership Africa needs and the institution strategic thinking Africa needs to develop, and how we need to move into execution rather than conversation and dialogue. From Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, we are delighted to be joined by via Zoom from over there, from the headquarters of the forum, by Mr. Mohamed Alaa, our economic expert. Good morning, doctor. Doctor, good morning. Do you hear me well?
Yeah, good morning. I hear you. How are you? Good morning from Kigali here.
Yes, doctor, we're very happy you joined us from over there in the middle of all your busy schedule. We'll go watch this short report talking about our forum and come back to you and continue our conversation.
The Africa Mindset Reset Forum in Kigali, Rwanda, under the theme From Pan-Africanism to Meta-Africanism, to rethink Africa's development trajectory and the leadership mindset required to into tangible results. The forum brings together a fundamental question. What must Africa change in the way it thinks, organizes, and acts to achieve the development and global influence its resources and people make possible? For decades, Pan-Africanism has provided the ideological foundation for African unity. It played a historic role in the struggle against colonialism, supported the quest for political independence, and promoted the idea that African countries could achieve greater strength through solidarity and collective action. Yet the challenges facing Africa in the 21st century are increasingly economic, technological, and institutional. Political independence alone cannot guarantee prosperity. The central challenge today is how to transform Africa's human resources, natural wealth, geographical position, and growing markets into sustainable economic power. This is where the concept of Meta-Africanism seeks to offer a new perspective. Rather than replacing the principles of Pan-Africanism, it can be understood as an attempt to translate them into practical outcomes. The emphasis shifts from solidarity as an aspiration to solidarity as a mechanism for economic integration, technological advancement, capital mobilization, institutional reform, and large-scale development. The question is no longer simply whether Africans share a common destiny, but whether they possess the institutions and leadership necessary to act collectively on that destiny. One of the most important issues raised by the forum is the need for Africa to become better organized. The continent possesses enormous resources, including minerals critical to the global energy transition, vast agricultural potential, a strategic geographical position, and one of the world's fastest growing populations. However, the existence of resources does not automatically produce development. Weak infrastructure, fragmented markets, inadequate financing, institutional weaknesses, and limited industrial capacity have often prevented African countries from capturing the full value of their assets. Consequently, the forum's emphasis on mobilizing capital and building effective institutions is particularly significant. Africa cannot depend indefinitely on external financing to fund its development.
Welcome back, Doctor, we're very happy you're still with us. Dr. Mohamed Alaa, our economic expert, joining us directly from the headquarters of the forum. Doctor, the proposed shift from Pan-Africanism to Meta-Africanism raises fundamental questions about whether traditional approaches to African unity remain sufficient in our current era, defined by artificial intelligence, global transformation, rapid change in the region. So what precisely distinguish between the two concepts, the Pan-Africanism and what we aim to go through Meta-Africanism?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone from Kigali. I'm very happy to be here and represent Egypt as the young economic leader. And for me, as you see, the Africa Minds Reset Forum in Kigali was much more than an international conference. It was an important conversation about Africa, continent future, not only from political perspective, but economic, institutional, technological, and strategic. What makes it significant? It is extraordinary high-level diversity of leadership. His Excellency President Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, and President of also past Prime Minister of Ethiopia, and President of Ghana, and also former President of South Africa, and development institutional organizations like Dr. Sidi Welta, President of African Development Bank, and also General Secretary of Africa Trade Zone Area and United Nations Commission for Economic. So it is like the forum for me important, not simply number of prominent names. It was fact of political leaders, former head of states, and institutional come together to sitting within one conversation what comes for next Africa. Moving to your question, I see Meta-Africanism, not rejection of Pan-Africanism, but as you know, continuation to continue its historical ambition into new economic institutional era. Pan-Africanism gave Africa something fundamental, the idea of shared dignity, identity, and solidarity, and collective destiny. That was essential for political liberation of the continent. But Africa's challenge today is increasingly different. We have asked to what do we do with that unity? What do we have convert political solidarity into economic scale? How do convert the continental cooperation into infrastructure, investment, technology, and industrial capacity? So that's where I think the concept of Meta-Africanism become very relevant. For me, it means moving from solidarity to systems, from aspiration to execution, and from political unity to productive capacity, and from fragmented markets to continental scale. But I would make an important distinction.
Yes.
Yeah, Meta-African should not mean African countries must follow the same economic model. We need a strategic configuration where scale matters, trade, infrastructure, energy, and digital connectivity, human capital investment. So, as you say, the question no longer Africa can unite. The question is what Africa can build because it is united.
Yes, Doctor. And if the forum is defining its principal challenge as organizing our potential rather than lacking potential. So in this matter, how do you see it, and what are the most structural obstacles preventing the continent from converting its enormous human and natural resources into sustained economic growth?
Yes, I believe Africa has many foundations required for reassurance, but there is a fundamental difference between to own and processing these resources and converting resources into economic power. Africa has extraordinary natural resource, critical minerals and agriculture, potential energy, and also consumer markets, and also we have perhaps continent's greatest strategic assets of all young population. So, as oil not a development, young population is not automatically demographic dependent, so development occurs when These assets connect into institutions, capital, infrastructure, technology skills, and also productivity. So this is where I think Africa needs fundamentally change in economic thinking. We should stop asking how much Africa possesses. We should start asking how much value does Africa capture. So
Yes.
if I want to become one of the most powerful, we need to move from an economy that primarily export raw potential to one that increasingly processes, manufactures, innovates, and finances and export value. So I do believe Africa possesses ingredients, but the reassurance will not come simply because Africa is rich in resources.
Doctor,
So it will come.
yes,
Yeah.
Doctor, the forum mainly under the theme of mindset reset. So what specific leadership mindset reset we need to change among political leaders, business, academia, civil society, in order to transform from just being externally consuming developed solutions into becoming the producers of global ideas and technologies, and rather than exporting them, we start importing them, we start to export our own ideas.
Yes, I think we need to be careful here because mindset reset should never be denial of reality. Africa has real challenges: debt, infrastructure, governance, unemployment, and also financial constraints. So I am advocating agency. For too long, much the institution narrative about Africa has been constructed around poverty and vulnerability and crisis and conflict. But the mindset I believe in Africa need is from dependency to agency. Instead of always asking who is going to solve problems in Africa, we should ask what can Africa build, finance, and solve themselves? And where can strategic international partnerships accelerate that process? So Africa must remain deeply connected to global markets and global technology and global investment, but integration shouldn't become permanent dependency. The objective should be partnership from position of greater capacity. We should become producers of solutions, not only consumers. We should build global competitive African companies. Also about research institutions to be capable of generating African knowledge. So, and all above, we should create environment in which African young people see themselves not merely as future beneficiaries of development, but as economic actors capable of creating development.
Yes, Doctor. And is the African continental free trade area capable enough of becoming the economic foundation of meta-Africanism, the concept that we aim for in this forum? And what must be done to transform it from just a policy framework into a genuinely integrated continental market?
Yes, for me, I see this is my intervention in Kigali and in the forum, because I focus on economic pillar. I focus on economic justice and the global financial architecture and Africa economic financial. This is because this is not only psychological. We can tell Africans bigger and bigger dreams, but we must ask whether the structure surrounding African economies can give enough room to transform ambition into reality. For me, economic justice and to have like this Africa free trade area, we need that architecture through the capital, risk, and opportunity. Africa doesn't need to withdraw from global finance, but we need to be stronger. So we need like to work together with African countries to have a speak about not only just to have words, we have to move it into reality to remove barriers and constraints of creating African trade area. So this can be possible, but it need like some negotiations and need some understanding between countries so to make this dream into reality.
Yes. Yes, Doctor. And back to our own resources mobilization and capital mobilization in the African continent remains one of the greatest challenges that we face. How can African governments mobilize their domestic savings, pensions, funds, and sovereign wealth rather than depending and relying mostly on foreign financing?
Yes, for technology and for resources. That's all. Yes, I see our natural resources. As I said, how much we should stop asking how much does Africa possess and start asking how much value does Africa capture. Take natural resource. The real question is not simply how copper minerals, how oil you have or Africa export. The question should be where is processing, where is manufacturing and technology. That's the difference between resource ownership and economic transformation. And
Yes.
this is closely connected to my intervention. I argue that mindless change can't be separated from economic structure. So if we want Africa to become more powerful, we need move from economy that primarily export raw potential to ones that increasingly process, manufacturers, innovate, finance and export ones. It will come when Africa become exceptionally good at organizing, financing, processing, and scaling those resources into its right place.
Doctor, in your opinion, what reforms are needed or are necessary to make so African financial markets get deeper and more interconnected and could be stronger in this matter? So we decrease our dependence on external borrowing and so on.
For me, for sure, we should work on the global architecture, global finance architecture related to development, related to concessional finance. We need to work also on credit creating for African and developing country, which will be like not justice for us to ask for concessional finance and have this high risk rates for development. On the other hand, other countries, developed countries in Europe, they have like lower rates to get this concessional finance. So we should like work on how much value remains within African economies and how influence Africa can over global finance. So for me, economic justice also concerns architecture, through which capital and risk and opportunity are distributed. Africa doesn't need to withdraw with global finance. It needs to become stronger within it. We need stronger capital markets. We need greater mobilization of domestic savings. We need strong development financial institution in Africa, productive investment, also project preparation, and bankable infrastructure, industrial products. So when I speak when economic liberation, I'm not talking about isolation. I'm talking about agency, ability of African economies decide more effectively what to produce, invest, and mobilize capital.
Yes, Doctor. On this note, we thank you very much for having some time for us in between your busy schedule over there, and we're happy we were joined via Zoom from the headquarters of the forum by Mr. Mohamed Alaa, Dean, economic expert. Thank you, Doctor, and have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, our viewers. Let's go to a short break and come back to you.